It's Vince's View, powered by Jim Stiles, CPA. It's our UT opponent analysis of the Florida Gators. Hey, everybody, I am Vince Ferrara. Thanks so much for watching. We're at Jim Stiles' office at 8930 Cross Park Drive, Suite 3 in West Knoxville. And Jim Stiles can help you out, whether it's tax returns, financial statements, new business bookkeeping. He's been doing it for many years with so many happy clients, and he can take care of you. Look, initial meetings are absolutely free. So contact Jim today, 694-4484, 694-4484, jimstylescpa.com. Tennessee and Florida. The Gators come in at 0-1, ranked number 24 in the polls. Tennessee is at 23. This is the second consecutive year that Tennessee and Florida have both been ranked in this matchup. Now, Tennessee had a get-right game last week with Indiana State. Florida did not have that advantage because they had their game against Northern Colorado canceled due to Hurricane Irma. Florida lost their opener to Michigan and in Arlington, and they had 10 suspensions in that game. So Florida comes in a little bit of an unknown, not having played for a couple of weeks. Now, Florida lost a lot on defense to the NFL and to injury, and a lot has been made about that, but don't let that fool you. They're still very, very good on defense. They had a couple of pick sixes in the Michigan game by Duke Dawson and C.J. Henderson. Really good defensive line, very aggressive, hardworking, physical, athletic, led by defensive end C.C. Jefferson, who was a five-star. He's an NFL prospect as well. Taven Bryan is a very quick and athletic defensive tackle for the Gators in their base 4-3 defense. Now, on the perimeter, they're very aggressive, a lot of press man coverage. Tennessee's actually seen a little bit of that against Georgia Tech, but Florida is even better at it. Now, they're very good as well at disguising coverages, so you'll see them slide into some cover two looks, some two deep, and then also Randy Shannon's known for his quarters coverages where basically their four main DBs will have a section of the field. So I think you'll see Tennessee do a lot of crossing routes, force guys to make decisions when they go from one person's zone into the other. Michigan got a big touchdown pass over the top against Florida in that situation. So look for a lot of crossing routes from Tennessee from that standpoint. Florida's very young at linebacker, so I think you'll see Tennessee try to isolate some of those backers and utilize Ethan Wolf an awful lot. So that's a very key part of this game is the tight end position. Now on offense, everybody's talking about how anemic the Gators have been on offense. Felipe Franks gets the start, the 6'5" redshirt freshman quarterback. He had one good throw early against Michigan, then he scrambled for a first down, and you thought, all right, kid's settling in. But he really struggled after that, threw for 75 yards, 5 of 9, and then was replaced by Malik Zaire. There's a chance you could see Zaire or Luke Del Rio, but I think it'll be Franks, and they'll give him a shot. So let's not determine his college future just yet based on basically a half of football. Now, he's athletic, but at times he looked awkward. Remember the center in the Michigan game tripped him a couple of times, and he's got to protect the football. If he doesn't, that's going to be huge for Tennessee in this game. Now, the offensive line, with tripping up the center, tripping up the quarterback, the offensive line was supposed to be a much improved unit for the Florida Gators. It has not been to this point. Running back Jordan Scarlett is the best of the group of running back by committee they have. We'll see if he plays and what factor he'll be in this game. And then the wide receivers, that's been another position with talent that has underachieved for the Florida Gators. That's actually the position group on the Florida Gators team that has the most recruiting talent in 4- and 5-star players. They just haven't lived up to it. Now, tight end is where I think Florida has its strength, and that could really be a problem for Tennessee. Two very good tight ends in Ciante Lewis and DeAndre Goolsby. I think you will see this offense try to isolate Tennessee's linebackers, Colton Jumper, Cortez McDowell, out in space, and they'll do a lot of two tight end stuff. So look for that as a big factor in this game, and I think that's going to be something Tennessee's going to need to have an answer for defensively. Of course, Tennessee had the big come-from-behind victory, down 21-0 at Neyland Stadium last year, and it's such a huge win to snap that streak. Tennessee still hasn't won in Gainesville since 2003. They're looking to do that. Jim McElwain, 3-8 at Florida against ranked opponents. Now, connections between these two teams. Florida does not have a single player from the state of Tennessee, while Tennessee, you guys know that follow recruiting, Tennessee has 14 players from the state of Florida. It's a big priority for Tennessee. And of those 14, 8 players on the Tennessee roster actually have high school teammates that play for Florida right now. So a lot of familiarity with a number of these players. Now, coaching staff, connections between the two. Robert Gillespie, running backs coach for Tennessee. He played and coached at Florida. There's also a University of Miami head coaching connection between these two teams, as Larry Scott, of course, former Miami coach, and Randy Shannon, defensive coordinator for Florida, was a Miami coach as well. And then there's a Raiders connection, of course. Reggie McKenzie, the general manager of the Oakland Raiders, his son Khalil on the defensive line for Tennessee. And then Raiders head coach Jack Del Rio, his son Luke, is a quarterback for the Florida Gators. Keys to this game, Tennessee and Florida. One is special teams. These are two of the better special teams units in the entire SEC, if not the two best. Both of them are very good at punting. Two of the better punters in the country will be on display in this one. Both teams have blocked kicks. Of course, Paul Bain with that critical end of the fourth quarter block field goal attempt by Georgia Tech against Georgia Tech, and then Florida blocked a punt against Michigan. Both have excellent coverage units. Now, the differences between the two, I think Florida with Eddie Pinheiro is a little bit better in place kicking. He's made some long distance kicks. Aaron Medley has struggled from beyond 40 yards. We'll see what they do with whether they use two kickers with freshman Brett Samaglia. Tennessee hasn't been in that situation as of yet. And then where I think Tennessee has an advantage in special teams is the return game. You have Evan Berry, one of the better kick returners in the country. He's questionable for the game. If he doesn't play, you still have Todd Chandler, the freshman, who returned the opening kick against Indiana State for a touchdown, and then Marquez Callaway, who I've said a number of times I think is going to have at least 2 punt returns for touchdowns this year. He is always a threat, and we'll likely see Florida try to kick away from him and to the sidelines. Another key in this game is second down. Yes, second down. The reason for that is this Florida offense, with their struggles and lack of confidence, you want to get them behind the chains. So if you get some negative plays on second down, some incompletions, force third and long, that's going to be a huge advantage. Going to help Tennessee's defense get off the field, which they did not do against Georgia Tech, did a much better job of against Indiana State, and will be critical in this game. Another advantage, I talked about it a little bit earlier, and that's tight ends versus linebackers. I think the tight ends for both of these teams have the advantage. Who gets the better of that exchange? Tight ends versus linebackers and slash safeties at times for the two teams. And then the fourth key to this game, I think, is coaching. You know that both of these coaching staffs are going to have some special stuff, some new wrinkles that we have not seen from these two teams for the opponent. It always happens. Who has those? What do they turn into? A first down or a touchdown? Are they game-changing type of new plays? Doesn't it just have to be trick plays, just new wrinkles that is not on tape to this point? And then in-game adjustments, you're going to see some things, and these coaching staffs are going to have to adjust. What happens when Florida crowds the box to try to stop John Kelly and Tennessee's run game? Does Tennessee have an answer with the right pass plays? Got to execute as well, but I think the coaching in both sides is going to be huge. And then Bob Shoop, he talked about the chess match against Paul Johnson and Georgia Tech. Well, he's played an awful lot of snaps. His players an awful lot of snaps in the first 2 games. How do they manage the personnel? It's going to come down to some critical situations. Of course, Butch Jones a couple years ago, and not deciding to go for 2 points when to make it a 14-point lead as opposed to 13 in the fourth quarter. I think coaching is going to come a big in what should be a close game. That's Vince's View, powered by Jim Stiles CPA. It's our UT opponent analysis each week. You guys enjoy the game. We will look at UMass next week. And be sure to go to sportsradio.WNML.com for much more of Vince's View, powered by Jim Stiles CPA. I'm Vince Ferrara. Thanks for watching.